This is Sophie, the food blogger behind A Kitchen in Uganda, and what you are listening to is our new podcast called Our Food Stories, a podcast where we as a community share food stories from our past that have raised and sustained our ancestors and eventually ourselves. Episode 10. When I tell you that Uganda is uniquely geographically placed with a vibrant tapestry of cultural heritage, I am not exaggerating. We had unique stories from the central, the west, the east, and the northern parts of the country. And we're just getting started. To wrap up the season, today's story is about community, which is a common theme with this podcast. Because if it wasn't for you as listeners and contributors, this podcast would not be possible. So today's special guest talks to us about how food was communal and how it was shared. Enjoy.
I am Simon Wambale, born in Uganda and in Kasese district in particular. School life when we were young was always interesting. And one of the things I could remember was the food we ate at school. There were no snacks and bread and whatever to eat at school, but there was real food. And this is what happened. We could take packed food and called Endanda. And I remember we had a group of people who used to eat together at school, having different ndandas, having different packed foods, and therefore we had the joy of tasting food from every family. Now I remember my mother cooking binyangwa. Binyangwa is cocoyams, and cooking them in a nyongu, the earthen pot, and she could cook them overnight, and by morning they were ready, hot, with that type of aroma that comes with it from the cover that she used, which was always fans, merondoro, kutia mebale. And the aroma, they came out with a very nice aroma. Sometimes we could taste the food before we go, but sometimes we could just get a banana leaf and temper it to make it soft so that we can be able to tie our food there. And then you get about 4 or 5 bibinyangwas and tie them together, get a fiber, tie them together, and then you go to school. And you go to class and study, but there was that time where joy would come. And it was a time you hear the bell, the gong or the bell, and you all shout, lunch time, Endanda, Endanda, meaning eating our food. And then we go out, we sit in our group, of course, in a specific area where we use it to sit. And remember, we are about two to three families, and we have got 3 ndandas, and so we are going to eat together. So we open one ndanda, get omusotyo. What is omusotyo? Omusotyo is a type of cutting tool made out of a bamboo stem, specifically to cut the binyangwa in 2 pieces. So you get your musotyo and you cut the binyangwa in 2 pieces so that if you are 10, if you are 15, the binyangwa will be enough for you to eat. Everybody will eat a piece of chinyangwa. And then we eat together, and of course we are talking about many other things. You finish this ndanda, then you open another ndanda. Perhaps there is in that ndanda there is beans and cassava, and then you eat that one and finish it. Then the next ndanda, perhaps there are bananas or sweet potatoes and beans. Then you eat that ndanda. It was a very interesting thing. And one of the things that such a life used to tell us was communal life. We live together. We belong together. You eat of mine and I eat of yours. That was a joyful thing because at that time we used to share our food and eating together, knowing the sweetness in a particular house and in another particular house. That was so nice. That was our life.
And just like that, season 1 has come to a delicious end. Time really flies because it feels like a few weeks ago when our Food Stories launched. Our Food Stories is taking April and May off to collect more stories and regroup for season 2, which you can expect in early June. But before I sign off, I wanted to read what you have been saying about the podcast so far. 234 Pantry said, "Love this. Entrenching our stories in contemporary media is so important now. We cannot allow them to die with oral storytelling." Sanyu said this, "Wow, this podcast sounds like such a wealth of our food and culture. I just got hooked by the trailer and I can't wait to get started with the episodes." Simon says, in response to episode 2, "Such stories are important. Knowing what to do in difficult situations is vital. I think even the Ministry of Disaster Preparedness should not only think about handouts when catastrophe strikes, it should carry out education in such survival methods. Disaster is not selective of class. We all need to know about some of these important things. That time it was Luero, today it is COVID-19, tomorrow it might be something else. I have noted Omugunu, and if anybody knows anything else, please tell us." If you want to contribute a delicious food story to season 2, don't hesitate to reach out to me via email at akitcheninuganda@gmail.com or on Instagram at akitcheninuganda. In the meantime, go and listen to the stories, share the podcast with others, leave a review or a rating and a comment on your favorite stories wherever you listen. See you when season 2 airs.